Hey guys, it's Wayne Santos, one of the editors at CGM, and for this week's Sound Off, let's sound off about scary stuff, horror games. I'm sure that many of you old school gamers out there have been enjoying the recent re-release of the GameCube remake of the original Resident Evil, which has now been remastered for high-definition consoles of today. But basically, the original Resident Evil is out on Xbox One and PS4, and it's like everybody's been playing it, and it's been doing very, very well. So well, in fact, that even though the game originally released in January 20th, which is 20 days into the month, only 10 days left in that month, it still sold well enough that it became the best-selling digital title on both the PS3 and the PS4 for the month of January. For a game to rack up those kinds of sales in just a little over 10 days and still become like the winner for the month, that really says something about the consumer demand for that game. And really, when you stop and think about it, it's not that surprising. Resident Evil has changed a lot over the years, and a lot of people have been pretty disappointed with the direction that the series has been taking with Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6. When a new game, which held up to the scrutiny of modern graphical demands, finally came out, which still had the whole haunted house, zombies in the mansion, it's just you with not enough ammo, it's like very tense survival horror feel that the series was first well known for. I guess it's really not that much of a surprise that it's like people came back to it. But really, what this says more importantly is that there is still a market for the traditional horror game that is not exactly the easiest thing in the world to play. Now, I know that this runs counter to what most of the market research says, which is one of the reasons why games like Resident Evil and unfortunately Dead Space have been going more towards an action bent. I mean, they keep looking at the numbers of action-oriented games like Call of Duty, and they keep thinking, we want those numbers, so they keep trying to make their games more like Call of Duty. But for all of their focus grouping, the true testament is how much money they are making in sales. And for the original Resident Evil to still incite this much demand after all of this time should tell the market research guys that there is still money to be made in the original formula, and that there is profit there that doesn't necessarily have to come from trying to turn your game into Call of Duty like every other game out there. So to Capcom, and more specifically to the game developers at Capcom, I would say to you guys, look at how Resident Evil Remastered is performing, look at the legacy that you guys have, and start thinking about making these games scary and difficult and tense as opposed to a slam, bang, adrenaline-fueled cavalcade of action. There is a place for those games. I just don't think that there's necessarily a place for it in Resident Evil or any other horror game like Dead Space. See ya.